Hello everyone, it is so good to see you. So, the first round of the Kirby Air Riders demo event just wrapped up the other day, and people have complex feelings about this one. The global test ride included a tutorial section that you could do at any time, and also 2 modes that were only available during specific time slots. 3 entire tracks were available in Air Ride, but these were offline only, more so to give people a general feel of the game before jumping into the real meat of the demo. Everybody got the opportunity to play some city trial online with 16 players. We all jumped into 5-minute rounds, collecting items and power-ups while avoiding the chaos of random events and the other 15 players. After 5 minutes passed, we went on to a stadium battle, of which you had the choice of 4 completely unique events. The game will read your machines and stats, recommending which one you should compete in. Sometimes the machine that you build with your stats will perfectly complement an event, like a drag race after heavily investing in top speed. Other times, none of them will be more optimal over others. Welcome to the luck of the draw with City Trial. We also got our first chance to explore the paddocks, essentially the online lobbies that you can make with friends. You can all hang out with a maximum of 16 players online, which I tried on stream. It's pretty easy to set up a room with a code. Since there was no online air ride, the terminals could only be used to queue up everyone for City Trial. For the most part, it went pretty smoothly. At times, people could not get into the room even though there was at least one space left open. I did have to remake the room once, which then let everybody fill out the room just fine. Not sure if that was just the servers getting loaded with everyone playing at once or some other connection reason. But all things considered, the online functions pretty flawlessly, at least from my experience thus far. I'm fairly certain that this is the exact demo that we played at PAX West, but with just online flipped on. The roster consisted of characters revealed only up to the first direct, so sadly no the Roach or Marks, for example. But there was still an ample amount of characters to try out. I went through a good majority of them, and it got me excited to see the rest of the roster when the game releases. But like, alright, yeah, Kirby Air Ride fan enjoys the Kirby Air Riders demo, no surprise there. From the moment that I saw it, I knew that I was gonna buy it. This might skew my opinion, so I thought the more interesting thing to do was to ask all of you what your opinions of this demo were so far. I went over to the Bluesky and got a nice variety of different opinions, some which I want to highlight real quick. And to start us off, we have LuBlue08, who says, I never played the GameCube game, but the demo was really fun. Air Ride mode is fine, but City Trial, oh, it's so much fun. I can see why people like it so much. I found it a bit overstimulating at times, see the video, but the gameplay is so enjoyable. Can't wait to get the game for Crimbo. I told myself I was supposed to look this up, and I didn't see what Crimbo was. Hold on. Oh, it's Christmas! I feel like I learned that at some point and then completely forgot. Merry Crimbo. Yeah, so the main thing that everybody should know, or has probably already noticed, is that this game takes the original Kirby Air Ride and just turns it up far past 11. When you start City Trial on the compact start of the game is nice and gentle, yeah, but when you swap your machine and you start getting more of your top speed going, oh, it can be so ridiculous. This mode gets cranked. Rick is the most common example that I've seen of this game just having so much going on all at once. The stimulation is off the charts, and that made me question if that was the best decision to make for a game that's trying to appeal to as many people as possible. More on that later. Next we have Soy Sauce Agent aka Martin, who says, it's exactly what I wanted. The OG Air Ride has a lot of meh stuff, but I adore it because of City Trial's chaotic BS fun. Air Riders is hitting that same beat and then said more. It's hitting that peak 7 out of 10 itch for me. The rest of the game could be doo-doo, but City Trial alone makes it my goatee. And the key statement here, in my opinion, is that this is a 7 out of 10. And I don't think we're hitting record heights on the review scores with this one. But it doesn't really need to. I mean, look at the original Air Ride review scores. It barely passed a 60 on Metacritic. But the general review score is a lot more positive. Honestly, if I could summarize this into a single sentence, this is like the most polished, unpolished demo of a game I have ever jumped into. It is hitting a niche and people are discovering if they fit in that niche or not, which is good. That's what a demo should be going for. If you're not digging the taste of Air Ride or the big serving that is City Trial, chances are that this probably is not your cup of tea, and it is okay to move on. In all honesty, we could really use a lot more 7 out of 10 games out there, but that's my opinion. Emmanuel Perez saying an amazingly polished experience that I'm sure a lot of people will love, but neither the original game nor this new installment are for me. I'm a big Kirby fan, but I just prefer more traditional racing games like Mario Kart. Glad Sakurai got to do a passion project, the man deserves it. Right after I mentioned that there are some unpolished bits here and there too. But Sakurai has really taken 2 different directs and a demo to communicate to people if this is for them or not. That is a lot more than what we see for most first-party Nintendo titles. It is trying so hard to tell people that this is more party game than a racing game, while something like Mario Kart World is more of a racing game than a party game, you know? By not fitting in the exact same category, it carves out its own place to let it sit beside games like Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and so on. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm yelling at anybody. I'm just trying to sympathize with those that may not be agreeing with this game and just, explaining that it's okay to move on to something else. Kabula Queen is saying it is an absolute blast. I can't wait to get my hands on the full game already. I want to mess with the options, customize vehicles, riders, do the story mode and missions, and try racing friends in the other modes. Also can't wait for City Trial to get other stadium bosses, events, and the legendaries. I think this is where people are going to feel a reinvigorated interest, right? It's all the stuff that we didn't see in this global test ride. Some people are claiming that this is going to be the whole game, and sure, there are probably going to be some people who are going to live in City Trial for the rest of their lives, but there is still so much more. Vehicle customization, more options, the road trip mode, whatever the heck is going on in the background of this game. I feel it's the checklist that's going to keep a lot of us going back for more in what I imagine will be a very addictive loop of unlocking more with every game mode that we jump into. I'm also looking forward to the full breadth of City Trial. We got to try fighting Robo DDD as a boss, but there are probably a lot more events and challenges. And you're right, I'm pretty positive that they did not have the legendary air ride machines available during the demo, and from what I've seen, the clusters that happen in this game, I am scared to think of the bloodbaths that are going to happen when 16 players try to beat the parts out of each other to complete Dragoon and Hydra. Ready Eddie says, I missed the demo.
What's wrong with you?
Dalton of Smash June says, I enjoyed it well enough, but I don't see myself picking up the game. Main sticking point is City Trial only having one map. Sure, there's plenty of chaos and events that make each match unique, but it's only been a weekend and I'm already kind of tired of that map. And the original had this issue as well. It is one huge playground that allows for all kinds of variation, but it is still just one map. There are definitely places that I feel like I haven't seen yet, but I do get it that it might feel like we've already seen everything. Given how fast this game feels compared to the original, it's also making it feel a lot smaller than it actually is, since we're covering so much more ground in a shorter amount of time. Originally, I wanted to be fairly confident that we're going to get another map somewhere in the game, but Sakurai was very direct in saying that this is the only map in the game. Skya was going to be City Trial and that's it. And given the fact that there's also no DLC for the game, I guess I don't have a reason to disbelieve him. He didn't make any funny, jokey, snide comments like, oh, maybe it's in there, wait and see. And the reason why I was so confident is just the fact that they named it Skya. The original city doesn't have a name, it's just the city, but I feel like they named Skya just so they can differentiate it to other possible maps. Maybe I'm just oversimplifying things, but for just a moment, join me in my coping. Imagine other cities that have different events. Skya has the classic bosses like Dynablade, Krakow, and the Giant Wheelie. What if other cities had more modern bosses, or at least ones from the 3D titles? And picture Gormondo just climbing around the city trying to swat a bunch of air ride machines out of the sky. Imagine HRH, that robo-boss from Shiverstar, descending from the sky, transforming and firing missiles at you. What if Master Hand shows up? Would that be the best or stupidest thing ever if it did? Just transplant the model right from Smash Bros. Ultimate directly into Kirby Air Riders. But anyways, yeah, I just want to believe that there's more room to expand. But I can see how people might want to hold off from the game from now, if that's all there is to it. Cutie Caitlin says it is exactly what I wanted, being City Trial Online, and the overall experience is super streamlined. Love the visuals, the music is bopping, and the balance feels pretty good. Only gripe is that I think the glide set needs tweaking. I feel like I either drop like a rock or go flying, no real in between. There is some weirdness with the stats this time around, like I don't think they're all entirely balanced to each other. The turn stat also felt very weird to me. Like, it might be because of the star I was riding on, but I feel like I needed to collect a whole bunch of those before it actually made a difference. And the same with glide. It doesn't help that there's also a random event that happens in which if you even so much as barely lift off the ground, your machine will go gliding like crazy. That also may have given me a very skewed perception as to how easy it is to make some of these machines fly. If I were to hazard a guess, I would say that maybe it's the fact that there are so many more machines now that the parameters work a bit differently to balance between all of them, and collecting certain stat ups may contribute to the parameters being raised differently. That is simply speculation. I do not know for sure, but that's my best guess. I also saw in another post that you had a bit of a problem with the visual clarity, as in the icons are way too huge at times when you're trying to just see what's in front of you, and I'm glad you found the solution. This was also in the original Kirby Air Ride, where if you take the right stick and you push back, you'll zoom out a bit, which gives a much better field of view, well, a somewhat better field of view with all the crap that's happening at the same time. I also wish there was a function to look directly behind you. You can use the right stick to like swivel all the way around, but that movement gets me dizzy at times, and I wish there was just an easier way to do that. Dad Alpha Lion says, I'm sold already. As somebody who only dabbled in the original as a kid, I'm gonna make up for so much lost time with the sequel. Things I liked: the controls, the roster, the music, and the hectic nature of City Trial. See, despite how simple the controls are, I feel that there is still a lot of depth with it. This game removes all the technical things that you normally would have to master using multiple buttons at once, and leaves the majority of them to mostly one button. It's more about learning the machines themselves, each that all function dramatically differently from each other. It was so refreshing to play with new machines, from the Paper Star to the Chariot or Tank Stars. I am really looking forward to the one that changes from a flying vehicle to a wheel vehicle. I feel like I'm going to really vibe with that one pretty well. And things that you weren't too hot on, a bit too crazy at times, which we covered, and Adeline. There is no Adeline. Alright, so when we saw Lololo and La be revealed, that confirmed to me that we can in fact have two characters in one machine. That revitalized my confidence that Adeline will be in this game. That representation from Kirby 64, I feel like is prominent in this game. We have 02 as a boss, for crying out loud. They have to add Adeline and Ribbon in this game. I already have it planned out, y'all. Alright, so recall the final boss of Kirby 64 and the Crystal Shards, where Kirby is being held up by Ribbon and they are fighting in the sky. And I think you know where I'm going with this. The special ability that Adeline uses is that they hop off the machine and Ribbon carries her across the field, soaring at high speeds, and she gets the crystal gun to shoot everyone that's in her path. It sounds ridiculous, but that feels like the perfect homage to Kirby 64. It just writes itself. JGall710 says, it was fun. Played the demo with my best friend, who was the very same person I played the original with when it came out. Main gripe for the demo, not having the ability to change the settings of City Trial. Would have liked to have been able to up the time to maybe 10 minutes and make the stadium choice random. And you know, alright, I'm the person that always adds the timer in the original City Trial from 5 minutes to 7 minutes, because I think the game was balanced really well around that, and I just wanted that little bit extra bit of time to do more, to collect more, to explore more. But after I played the global test ride, I think I realized that 5 minutes might actually be enough. Even up to 7 could be pushing it. You can get so many items in that amount of time. Like, I've seen people doing disgusting things of having the magnet ability, and there's just raining boxes on them, and then you're collecting like 30 plus items within a 10-15 second period. There were some games I had where we ran the timer up to like 4.5 minutes or so, and I was moving so fast that I couldn't control myself. If you double that length, you're gonna be boosting your stats so high that I don't think you'll be able to control anything at that point. There is in fact an upper limit that I never realized beforehand, because I enjoyed the balance that the original City Trial had. But looking at it now, I think adding more time might be a bit overkill. This game's version of City Trial has to compensate for the fact that there are 16 riders, and thus there are that much more items dropping and spawning and are available to collect. So the players that collect the majority of these by the end of 10 minutes probably won't be able to control themselves anymore. I'm assuming that online City Trial with random strangers is always going to be 5 minutes, but if you're doing a paddock with other people, maybe you can up it to 7 minutes. Anything past that is going to be a bit overkill. Todiferous is saying that City Trial feels less like a sandbox and more like a rush to just spam collect stats without much strategy or focus. Machines all feel extremely common, so honestly it removes a lot of the hype of finding your favorite machine in the OG. I find it a lot more fun with smaller lobbies in the paddock. So, this opinion coming from someone who has played a few hours of the global test ride in general, I feel like maybe this might have benefited more to half the amount of characters. Maybe not 16, maybe 8 would have been an ideal number. because much like with the stats, there has to be a lot more machines falling down too, because the game encourages you to get off of the compact star. And this also goes along with the whole idea that they have to add more power-ups and stuff to accommodate 16 players. There has to be more machines dropping at all times too. There's still kind of a race to get your favorite machines, but it's a lot less special, I guess, if you see someone with your favorite one, when usually there's only like 1 or 2 that ever appear in the original Air Ride matches. I definitely want to try this out with 8 players and have no AI. If the game can properly scale how many items and machines drop during a game with only 8 players, I think that might hit a very nice sweet spot. And yeah, I feel like you can just collect every single set that you see without much consequence. There hasn't really been many situations in which that has hindered anybody, at least from what I've seen. It's still early, but yeah, the focus just seems to be collect everything at all times and you'll be good. So here's an interesting pair of comments. The Knock on Wood is saying, I honestly didn't realize how much I would enjoy just racing. Having heard so much about how City Trial is the game, I was surprised by how much more I liked racing, and I'm assuming you mean just the air ride portion that's offline as of right now. And then the Total Radlight is saying, City Trial is peak, though the experience of actually getting into a game was pretty annoying at times. I don't particularly care for air ride from what I played. Hopefully I'll find more to enjoy in the final game. So it's interesting right now to see how many people are gravitating towards one or the other. I do definitely see more people talking about City Trial as the meat, the core of the gameplay at the moment. But there are definitely Air Ride fans, and when Top Ride is available in the full game, there's going to be people that mainly focus on that. There are going to be audiences that mostly favor Air Ride, that favor City Trial, and those that favor Top Ride. I know I rag on Top Ride a whole bunch, but it's like a loving nudge back and forth with me and Top Ride. No matter which mode you enjoy the most, you were all seen and valid. I'm just happy that every part of this game is going to be loved and appreciated by some audience somewhere. And if that's you, then more power to you. And finally, a comment from a standard human who says, for me, it is way too much. It's a typical Nintendo game. Easy to get into, only 2 buttons required, hard to master. There is so much to do or learn to be even just decent. I don't have the patience for that. But I love the care and details given for this game. I'm happy for every fan of this. Man, we need more people like a standard human. You can absolutely express your distaste for a game, but also understand and realize the care and attention that's going into it, as well as how happy it's making fans. The thing is, like, this game, it's not a great fit for a lot of people. Like, realistically, like, this is very unique, it's very niche, and on top of that, most people diving into this game are probably expecting a game that is geared towards newcomers, one that rewards newcomers, when actually, it kind of makes newcomers feel a bit alienated. I have seen and witnessed how difficult it is for this game to make newcomers feel like they have any sort of control. Us Air Ride veterans, we're just using our old muscle memory from the other game and finding ourselves settling in a lot easier. A lot of this is riding on Sakurai's name, but I feel like that might not be beneficial in this case. Kirby Air Riders is being rushed from a niche cult classic to a big first-party mainstream game that appeals to everyone, when in fact that's not the case. That is not going to happen overnight. They decided to keep true to form and not make as many compromises to help players ease into it. It was niche for a reason. The Kirby Air Ride fans were small but vocal, and we are still in the midst of seeing a lot of the public reception. This game is too fast, there is too much going on, it is exactly what I wanted from City Trial Online, and Rick is a monster. But that's enough for me for now. What did you think? Did you give the Global Air Ride a try? Did it convince you or sway your opinion one way or another? I would love to know down below. If you enjoyed this, please stay tuned for more Kirby Air Riders on the channel and beyond. Alright everybody, take care of yourselves. Till we meet again.